Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at IonQ. It is time for another update, and it seems on this chart we have succeeded in extending to higher prices, but unfortunately we haven't managed to hold the channel we have been previously tracking that would have allowed the momentum of this overall uptrend to be sustained. Now that this happened, it doesn't mean that this blue interpretation, where a wave 3 would take us significantly higher rather directly, will fail, but it does damage the likelihood of this scenario to play out. And not only that, but we have also managed to build what we have been previously tracking in this white interpretation as a potential initial 5-way move to the upside that would still ultimately provide a quite compelling trade setup, but would also require a significantly larger correction within this wave 2 in white, because the support zone only starts at $40.50 and actually extends all the way down to $30.20, and realistically, as long as we do not get a sustained break below this last level of support, a 78.6% retracement, there is still a good chance we would see this extension to higher prices, and we cannot really start looking for a strong invalidation until this really happens. Today I will show you the path I expect for these overall developments, the type of structures we could see form within this area, but before we do that, let's provide some context for this chart because it is quite important. So previously we have identified this to possibly be only a wave A to the upside, and in this case, sure, a wave B could be considered complete and a wave C could take us to significantly higher prices, especially since the ideal target for such a wave C would be the 100% extension of the wave A. That sits at $350 still, if I remember correctly, and there it is, but this does not need to happen in a straight line up. Since we have a 3-wave correction in place within what could be considered as a wave B, this is actually quite a beautiful correction. We have now an initial 5-way move to the upside. We have a confirmation that a bottom would be in place. The next degree of confirmation would be building the 3-wave correction into the support zone, from which point we can expect a wave 3 to already take us in a pretty direct fashion to significantly higher prices. Now, here's the thing though. I cannot rule out the possibility of the blue scenario still playing out. Even with this latest extension in this structure and the failure to hold this channel, I would still be able to identify internally a 1-2 setup in this structure. Not only that, but we have already reacted to the 50% retracement, and I cannot even rule out the possibility of a bottom within this wave 2 in blue actually being in, and the wave 3 taking us already to higher prices. What happened since the previous video is that we have gotten that additional high that was strongly suggested within pretty much all the scenarios we were tracking, but we have done so within the minimum expectation, which was to build either this as a potential wave 5 or form an extension within what we have previously been tracking as a wave 1. Because of that, the probabilities between these two scenarios have been unfortunately split, and it isn't going to be as easy to identify the most likely path forward, because at this point, sure, the blue scenario is still quite compelling. I still like this idea of a 1-2 setup. As I was saying, this channel wasn't going to invalidate this structure for me, but I cannot rule out the possibility of the 5-wave pattern to the upside being complete at this point, and this would also allow me to look for the large wave 2, which would allow me to expect a significantly deeper retracement. Not only that, even the wave 1 in white could still see an extension within this wave 5, right? It could be building an A, B, C structure, which is a perfectly valid scenario. So again, unfortunately, the structure of this chart has shifted into a more difficult state, and we need to identify from a smaller time frame the more likely path. And so far, we only have the possible indication of this maybe being an initial 5-way move to the downside, but realistically, I cannot even rule out this being a complete correction. I cannot even rule out this being a 3-wave move down, and what I would rather do is track internal levels of resistance for a potential wave B, which would allow me to expect continuation to lower prices as long as we do not get a sustained break above said levels of resistance that go up to $51.75, where so far we have only 3 waves up and we pushed only into the 50% retracement before the market actually closing on Friday. So at this point especially, we are in a bit of a difficult situation until we at least either get the breakout or form one additional low and get more clarity in that manner. There is unfortunately no clear winner based on the current pattern, but I do know that if you're interested in this stock, maybe a core position even before reaching this white area of support might not be a bad idea, because yeah, this blue support zone is really all it needed to start this reversal to higher prices. And while I might prefer one additional low, I cannot guarantee that even that will be given. I believe this should become more clear on Monday, but as it stands right now, yeah, the structure is in a rather unclear state and will require us to exercise patience. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoyed the content and want to support it directly, check out the channel membership, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.